Good morning, boys and girls, mommies and daddies, grandpommies and grandpappies. Today's adventure is tomorrow, first grade. Oh my goodness gracious. The boys and girls were so excited. They couldn't wait for school to start, and school started tomorrow. They were all in the first grade. There was Piggly and Wiggly and Squiggly Pig. There was Allie the alligator and Little Bad Wolf and Sally Pig. Sally, oh my goodness gracious sakes. Grandmommy's all excited today. Sally Skunk. Sadie couldn't go. She wasn't big enough yet. And Ollie the Otter and Frankie Fox. And there was a couple more boys and girls from the forest, but they didn't really play too much with the gang because they lived too far away. Now, the school was a little school because it was just for the forest, the woods that they lived in. So there was boys and girls coming from all over, and they weren't old enough to take a bus yet. But what they didn't know was that that's a habit, that Mommy Pig had a tea and asked all the ladies in the group to come over and discuss the school year. And what she had told the other mothers was a very good idea. And all the mothers said, "Oh, count us in." Because what Mommy Pig suggested was that they were too little to ride the bus. It just wasn't good to be first grade and have to ride the bus. So, Mommy Pig suggested that they take turns. Now remember, the boys and girls didn't know this yet. And each one would take turns and take all the children to school at one time. Oh my goodness gracious. So, Mommy Pig said she would do it the first week of school. Now that means she had to take them to school. She had to pick them up at their houses, take them to school, and then go to school and bring them back home again. That's just like driving a bus. And Mommy Skunk, Miss Sarah, said she would do the second week. Well, Mommy Alligator, Miss Alice, said she would do the third week. And Mrs. Fox, Mommy Fox, Miss Frances, she said she would do the fourth week. And then it would be Mommy Pig starting all over again. What a great idea. And they wrote it down in their phone what week they had. So that night at supper time, Mommy Piggy was talking to the boys about the school, and she says, "Now, I want you to take a real good bath tonight, and I have your clothes all hung up on hangers so that you can wear what's on the hanger. That's what you're going to wear tomorrow to school." "Oh, I can't wait, I can't wait, I can't wait." And she says, "Now, are your backpacks all packed? Does everybody have pencils?" And they all looked in their backpacks. "Okay, we got pencils, Mommy." "Does everybody have glue?" "Yeah, we got glue." "And does everybody have scissors?" Piggly says, "I've got a red pair of scissors." And Wiggly says, "I've got a yellow pair of scissors." And Squiggly says, "I've got a blue pair of scissors." Oh, they were so excited. And she says, "Okay," she says, "I will pack your lunch tomorrow and put it in your lunch boxes." "Oh, we can't wait, we can't wait, we can't wait. This is going to be so much fun." they went to bed. Oh, they couldn't sleep. They couldn't sleep because they were too excited. Well, they got up the next morning for breakfast, and oh, Mommy Pig had, just a minute, please. Need your house spray? House control? Oh, okay. I'm sorry, boys and girls, that was an interruption. Somebody was at the door. So, boys and girls, they got up the next morning and they got dressed. Oh my gracious sakes, they looked so handsome. They looked so handsome. And Mommy Pig had told them the night before about each one of the mommies taking them to school. And they were so very proud that their mommy got to be the first one to take them to school. So she put him in the car and she drove over to Allie the alligator's house, and he climbed in the car and she swung by and she picked up the little bad wolf. Now the little bad wolf, remember, he lives by himself. And so Mrs. Farmer Brown, being the nice lady that she is, she had got his school clothes, she got his backpack, and she got his lunch box, and she fixed lunch for him. Oh, the little bad wolf was so excited. And so he climbed in the car. So then Mommy Piggy, she went over to Sally Skunk's house, and Sally Skunk got in the car, and she went to Frankie Fox's house, and Frankie Fox got into the car, and they were just so, thank you, they were just so excited to be going to school for the first time. Oh boy. Well, Mommy Piggy was crying. Sometimes mommies do that when their children go off to school for the first time. And Mommy Piggy was smiling. And she was trying to make funny jokes, but she was crying. And the only one that could tell she was crying was Squiggly. So they get to school, and she says, now, do you remember where your class is? Remember, we came down here the other day and we met the teacher. Do you remember what her name is? She has an eye. And Mommy Piggy says, well, yeah, that's right. What is her name now? Irene. No, not quite. Lyra. No. Squiggly says, I know what it is, I know what it is. It's Eileen. And Mommy Piggy says, that's right, it's Eileen. Now, what's her last name? Wrong. Eileen Wrong. And Mommy Piggy says, no, not quite. And they thought, and Allie the alligator says, I know what it is. It's Eileen Correct. And Mommy Piggy says, no. And Frankie Fox couldn't think of it, and Little Bad Wolf is thinking, and he says, I think I know. And Sally Fox says, I don't remember. Mommy Pig, what are we gonna do? And Mommy Piggy says, that's okay. Her name is Miss Eileen Right. Not wrong and not correct, but right. That's right. Well, they go into the school, and oh my gosh, the room was beautiful. Miss Eileen Wright had put pictures up of words and numbers and colors. Now, Mommy Pig had already taught the three little pigs their colors and their numbers, and they could count to 20. They were already learning how to write their letters, and they could read some of the words. Quite a bit of words, actually. And so the other mothers they had done the same thing after they had learned how smart Piggly, Wiggly, and Squiggly were. And of course, Mrs. Farmer Brown had been teaching Little Bad Wolf all summer long so he could catch up with the boys and girls. So Miss Eileen Wright, she was so excited to see half of her class already knew all the stuff that she was going to teach them. So she introduced herself to the boys and girls who hadn't had a chance to meet her yet. And she says, now you can call me Miss Wright, or you can call me Miss Eileen. Which would you like to call me? So all the boys and girls voted. They all raised their hands and they voted on Miss Eileen. And Miss Eileen was so excited and so happy because this was only her 3rd year of teaching. And she just loved to teaching all the boys and girls. Well, they played on the rug, but they were playing very good games. They were playing alphabet games and number games, and then they went to their seats, and they each shared a table with 3 other children. Well, they got along so good that day, and they went out for recess, and they played hopscotch and Red Rover, and then all of a sudden the bell rang, and they're looking at each other because they never knew about this bell. What was this meaning? And Miss Eileen says, that's okay, boys and girls, come on. That means you have to come back into the classroom. Oh, okay. And they all got in line and they went back to the classroom. Do you know that all those children that lived in the woods were so excited about starting school that they all got stars on the first day of school? Now that's unheard of. Not one boy or girl misbehaved. Not one boy or girl did anything wrong. Oh my goodness. Miss Eileen was flabbergasted. She just didn't know. She thought, whoa, this class is pretty impressive. Whew. There's pretty smart kids here in this woods. I don't know if I can teach these kids anything. They seem to know everything. Why, they even go fishing by themselves, because they told her all about fishing, and they told her all about cleaning a fish, and that Mommy Piggy always cooked the fish for them, and she invited all the boys and girls for supper. Miss Eileen had never heard of such a thing. And you're all in the 1st grade. And they all said yes. And Little Bad Wolf says, and Mr. Farmer Brown lets me come over and help build things. When he has a project he has to do, I get to come and help him. And Miss Eileen says, oh my goodness gracious sakes, I never heard of that. And the 3 little pigs says, we got a yard service. We get to mow lawns, and we get to weed out the flowers, and we get to trim the hedges. Miss Eileen's little mouth dropped, and she said, well, I can't believe this, boys and girls. I think you need to be promoted to the 3rd grade. Well, of course, they can't be promoted to the 3rd grade until they know quite everything in the 1st grade. So that was their first day of school. And when they had their lunch, everybody was packed. You know what most of them was packed for their kids for the first day of lunch? Their favorite sandwich. Peanut butter with bananas. Oh, that was so good. Oh, my gracious sakes. Mommy Piggy came to pick them up. And they were just all in the back seat. And they were just talking and talking and talking. She thought, oh my goodness gracious, they're so excited. They must have had a good day. That is wonderful. So she drove to Frankie Fox's house and she dropped Frankie Fox off. And then she drove to Sally Skunk's house and she dropped Sally Skunk off. And then she drove to Mrs. Farmer Brown's house and she dropped Little Bad Wolf off. Because she knew that Little Bad Wolf didn't have anybody to talk to about school. And so Mrs. Farmer Brown says, you bring him over to my house and I'll take him home. So then she dropped little, excuse me, she dropped Alligator off to his house, and he couldn't wait to get out of the car and tell his mommy everything that happened. Wow. And then they dropped there was nobody else. Ollie the Otter, they dropped him off. I forgot about him. And then they got to the house, and it was just Piggly, Wiggly, and Squiggly in the car. And they were asleep. They were so tired, they were sound asleep. And she woke them up, and she said, okay, boys, come inside. She said, tell me all about your day. And with that, they went inside, and she had supper in the oven because she knew the boys would be tired and they'd be hungry. So they had an early supper at 5 o'clock. Oh my goodness gracious. She had fixed hamburgers with pickles and tomatoes and onions, which the boys loved onions, with a little bit of mayonnaise on the bread, a little bit of mustard. Oh my goodness gracious. And she had special potato chips for them to eat because potato chips was a treat because she wouldn't buy potato chips very often. She said, no, she said, potato chips are special. And they had milk, and she even put chocolate syrup in the milk. Best chocolate milk ever. And then they got their bath, and they're still talking a mile a minute how excited they were to go back the next day. And Mommy Piggy says, I'm so proud of you boys. And Squiggly says, so was our teacher. Our teacher was real surprised at what all we can do. And Mommy Piggy, thank you so much for teaching us all this time. I know sometimes we didn't like it and we gave you a hard time, but boy, thank you so much, Mommy Piggy, for teaching us our letters and our numbers and our colors and how to read and how to write. Oh, and all the other little boys said the same thing, and all the little girls said the same thing. We were the smartest bunch in the class. Wow, she said, that's wonderful. Now you boys say your prayers and you go right to bed. And so she stood at the door while they said their prayers, jumped into bed, and she covers them back up. She comes back in the room and she covers them up, and she gives each one of them a kiss, and she says, okay, night, night. Mommy loves you. You go to sleep now because tomorrow's school again. Okay, boys and girls, that's the end of this story. The first day of school. Okie dokie.